I had overdosed on heroin. The paramedics, the ambulance had to respond to it. I overdosed behind the wheel and I crashed a vehicle. They had to bring me back and I woke up in the back of the ambulance. I wasn't breathing, non-responsive. When I was 18, I started smoking crack and was addicted to crack. And then after I had my first son, I started with the prescription pills. A friend offered me heroin, so I tried it, and I fell in love with it right away.
The first time I realized Amanda had addiction issues, it wasn't with heroin. I discovered that the person that she was with had been a known crack user and dealer, and so I put two and two together and realized she was using crack. And so in those early years, it was just devastating. It was probably the worst thing I've ever found out about my kids was when I realized that she was using crack. And she ended up becoming homeless not too long after that, staying in hotels. And then it was years on and off of some sort of substance, which I didn't know. When she got off of crack, when I noticed that the addiction set in, not only was everything extreme, her pain was extreme, her anger was extreme. She hated me. We clashed more than ever, and in those days I got blamed for everything. Anything that went wrong in her life, I think I was blamed for, and so that was really hard. I didn't know that was addictive behavior at the time, so I took a lot of guilt and a lot of shame.
Addiction feels crazy, not having control. Like, I know using drugs is wrong, but I don't care. It's losing yourself, losing everything. It's insanity. It's uncontrollable. It doesn't discriminate. I did what a lot of parents, and I hear this is common with families in recovery. I tried to fix it. I remember going to a hotel she was staying at, and I picked her up and put her over my shoulder and tried to take her to rehab. That didn't work. She didn't go. The role my mother has played in my recovery and in my addiction, I wouldn't be where I am without her. When I was using, she set boundaries, and she didn't want anything to do with me because she had to protect her family. I used anybody as much as I could. I stole from people. I lied nonstop. I put my children in unsafe situations, and my mother put up those boundaries and said, I'm not having this. I was diagnosed with hepatitis C, which is something I got from sharing needles with my girlfriend at the time. She was the only one I shared needles with, so like the importance of the needle exchange for those who don't know about it is very important.
The goal of our agency is to reduce any drug-related harm somebody might experience from an active addiction. And I can only speak about the services that we provide within our organization, and that is clean needle exchange. So we really tried to get each participant to embrace the thought of one sterile use per injection. We provide the supplies free of charge. And an individual can come in, they bring their dirty supplies, and then we will provide them with clean supplies. And the supplies that we provide is anything to reach the goal of a sterile injection.
You hit a rock bottom in addiction where you just can't live like that anymore. I was at the point where I wanted to die. I got high on a daily basis and higher and higher and higher and higher, and I wanted to kill myself. When I came back from my overdose, I was like, oh my God, I can't even kill myself, right?
The ultimate goal is to hopefully get folks into treatment and get off of the opiates altogether. And in the meantime, while they're going through this crisis in their life, keep them alive. Dead junkies can't recover, and we want to do whatever we can to keep them alive until they make those treatment options. I'm in recovery from a heroin addiction, cleaned up in the 80s, so I got over 30 years sobriety. I think many of my family members and loved ones thought I was a lost cause back then, and I know hundreds of people like me that have been successful, and then once they are successful, they're contributing members of society. It's really a win-win situation once they do clean up.
When I went to jail in July of 2013, I was charged with manufacturing and delivery of heroin. It was a nightmare. I was withdrawing, and I had been on heroin for a couple years prior to me going to jail. So the withdrawals, I thought I was going to die. I lost custody of my 2 children. I lost everything I had. I lost myself, losing my kids. I was incarcerated. It was in August of 13. I couldn't keep living that way anymore. And then I decided that was going to be the reason to stay sober, because I couldn't imagine my life without my children in it.
I used to have dreams where I'd wake up and I'd wake up and dream that my friend, who was a police officer at the time, would be at my door telling me that she was dead. When I found out that she was in jail, I was so relieved. Because I had been calling the police every time I found out where she was. She probably didn't know this at the time, although she does now, but I was calling the police saying, she's over here, I think she's selling here, because I wanted her to get arrested. Because even though I believe in treatment over prison, I knew that for Amanda, the only intervention that was going to possibly save her life would be a police intervention and having her get arrested.
After all that, I found recovery. I met my sponsor, who does meetings. I work a 12-step program. And I learned about what recovery was. I didn't know anything about it. Prior to that, I just thought people, stopped using, and that was good enough.
We didn't trust her when she got out of jail. I hid the checkbook. I was so afraid of those old using behaviors. And slowly, through really hard work on our relationship, we regained trust. And I would trust Amanda with my life. And I trust Amanda to do the work that she needs to be doing, which is working on herself and being a good mom.
I moved in with my father after I was released from jail. My mother helped me with going to meetings, getting to know people in recovery. The winners stick with winners, and I surrounded myself with healthy people in recovery. I asked questions when I didn't know, and I started working at Step Industries, which is a huge foundation of my recovery, because it's a recovery-based place.
I heard about STEP when I was in treatment for my own addiction. And when I heard about it, I remember thinking, wow, there's a place for just recovering people to come. Our goal is to provide hope for people as they step back into life after dealing with their addiction in a safe, supportive work environment. It's been an interesting road with Amanda. She didn't start out being the stellar employee that she is today. She struggled, but she hung in there, and we saw potential with her. And so we continue to hold her accountable, and but also push her to do more and be better.
The things I've been doing with Step Industries, I am a key person. It is, I'm in charge of a group of 5 to 10 people. I help newcomers in recovery, sharing my experience, strength, and hope, and let them know that we were all once there, and it does get better.
She's really just blossomed in the last 9 months or so. She's just a great role model for a lot of people.
The lifestyle changes I have made is everything. I don't talk to anybody from my past. If they do come into recovery, because I do see that a lot, people come and go. I have my guards up, but as far as I don't go to the bars, I don't, hang out with people who are drinking or who are using. I keep myself away from things that trigger me. If I am triggered by something, I have a sponsor who I talk to on a regular basis.
I hold up my daughter as an example of why it's important to not lose hope and not lose faith in somebody who's deep in addiction. The change that I've seen in Amanda in recovery is something I never imagined could happen. She is somebody that I am so proud to call my daughter today. She's a beautiful person, and she deserved the second chance at life. Every person deserves a second chance at life.
Nobody can do the work for you. You have to do it yourself, and it's the easy part is to get clean, is to stop using. The hard part is to deal with everything that was done in the meantime of your using, fixing the mess that you created. But in the long run, it's worth it, and it's amazing, and I can't picture myself anywhere but where I am now. I can actually look in the mirror today and enjoy seeing the person that I am. I'm just working on becoming a better mother, a better daughter, a better wife,